A rare genetic disease left doctors helpless. Days before the 8-year-old child's death, an elderly cleaning lady at the hospital brought a mixture of plant leaves and said, "Drink this." As doctors were about to refuse, they discovered her identity. At the world's most advanced medical center, 8-year-old Emily was fighting a rare genetic disease. The cutting-edge gene therapies and experimental drugs had failed, and as doctors desperately made their final attempts, Maria Diaz, the 89-year-old cleaning lady who worked at the hospital, entered Emily's room. She carried a handful of exotic leaves and root mixture. "Give her this as tea," she said in a calm, confident voice. Dr. Richard Chen, the lead physician on Emily's case, looked up from his tablet with a mix of annoyance and disbelief. "Excuse me, but you can't be in here with unauthorized substances. This is a sterile environment." Maria stood her ground, her weathered hands holding the plant mixture with care. "This child has the Moreno Syndrome, doesn't she? The inflammation is attacking her organs one by one." Dr. Chen stared at her in shock. Moreno Syndrome was so rare that only specialists in genetic diseases would recognize its patterns. How could a cleaning lady know this? "Security," called Dr. Chen's assistant, reaching for the intercom button. "Wait," said a voice from the doorway. It was Dr. Elizabeth Torres, the hospital's senior researcher. Her eyes were fixed on Maria. "It's you, isn't it? Maria Diaz from the Araujo expedition?" The room fell silent. Maria nodded slightly. Dr. Torres turned to her colleagues. "This woman is Maria Diaz, the last healer of the Yawanawa tribe from the Amazon rainforest. She was a consultant at Harvard on ethnopharmacology 30 years ago. Her work on indigenous plant compounds was groundbreaking before she disappeared." "I didn't disappear," Maria said quietly. "I just went home." As it turned out, Maria had been raised deep in the Amazon by her grandmother, the tribe's healer, learning the medicinal properties of thousands of plants through generations of passed-down knowledge. She had been discovered by researchers in the 1980s and brought to Harvard to share her wisdom, but the experience had been bittersweet. "They wanted my plants, not my knowledge," Maria explained as she carefully prepared the tea in Emily's room. "They took samples, filed patents, but ignored how we use them, when to harvest, how to combine, when to administer. In medicine, timing is everything." Emily's parents watched with desperate hope as Maria steeped the leaves. Their daughter's condition had deteriorated rapidly in the past week. Her small body was swollen with inflammation, her organs slowly shutting down. Modern medicine had exhausted all options. "Dr. Chen, what do you think?" Emily's father asked, his voice breaking. Chen looked torn. His entire career was built on evidence-based medicine, rigorous trials, and proven protocols. But he had also just witnessed 6 experimental treatments fail. Emily had days left, perhaps hours. "We should run toxicology tests first," he said cautiously. "There's no time," Maria responded, her aged hands steady as she strained the tea. "The moon is full tonight. The compounds are at their most potent, and her body is ready to receive them." Dr. Torres stepped forward. "I've read all of Maria's published work, Richard. Her understanding of plant biochemistry is extraordinary. Harvard still uses her research, even though they rarely credit her properly." After an intense discussion, Emily's parents made their decision. "We want to try it," her mother said firmly. Chen reluctantly agreed, but insisted on monitoring every vital sign and running blood tests every hour. As Maria administered the first dose, he expected nothing. He had seen too many last-minute miracle cures fail. But by morning, something remarkable had happened. Emily's inflammation markers had dropped by 15%, the first decrease since her hospitalization. Her fever had broken, and she was breathing more easily. "It's probably just random fluctuation," Chen said, but the uncertainty in his voice was clear. Maria prepared the second dose, this time with a slightly different mixture. Different time of day, different balance needed, she explained when Chen questioned the change. By the third day, Emily was conscious and alert for the first time in weeks. Her organ function had stabilized. The medical team was stunned. "How is this possible?" Chen asked as he reviewed the latest test results. "What's in that mixture?" Maria smiled. 3 plants your science has studied, 2 it hasn't discovered yet. But it's not just the plants, it's knowing when each compound is most effective. The body's receptivity changes with circadian rhythms, with moon phases, with the patient's own internal cycles. As Emily continued to improve, Maria explained how her people had treated similar inflammatory conditions for centuries. "We don't see disease as just a broken part to fix. We see patterns of imbalance that flow through time. Modern medicine focuses on what, but often ignores when." Chen was fascinated despite his initial skepticism. His medical training had taught him to value standardization, the same medicine, the same dose, at regular intervals. Maria's approach was radically different, tailoring each treatment to the time of day, the patient's condition, even environmental factors. "In your hospitals, you give the same antibiotics at the same times, regardless of when the infection is most vulnerable," Maria observed as she adjusted Emily's 4th dose. "My people learned centuries ago that some plant medicines work best at dawn, others at dusk. The body dances with time, and medicine must follow the rhythm." Emily's case became the talk of the hospital. Other specialists came to observe, skeptical at first, but increasingly intrigued as the child's vital signs continued to improve. By the end of the week, Emily was sitting up in bed, asking for food, something she hadn't done in over a month. Dr. Chen began documenting everything meticulously. He ordered comprehensive analysis of Maria's plant mixture, discovering compounds that interacted with the specific genetic mutation causing Moreno Syndrome. The plants contained molecules that temporarily silenced the gene expression, giving Emily's body time to recover from the inflammatory cascade. But the laboratory analysis couldn't explain everything. The same compounds, synthesized and administered without Maria's timing protocols, didn't produce the same results in cell cultures. There was something about her method, the specific combinations at specific times, that defied conventional pharmaceutical understanding. "I'd like to understand more about how you determine the timing," Chen said to Maria one evening as they sat by Emily's bedside. The child was sleeping peacefully, her vital signs stronger than they had been in months. Maria studied him thoughtfully. "When I was a girl, my grandmother would take me into the forest before dawn. We would sit absolutely still and watch as the plants woke up. Some unfurl with the first light, others only open at high noon. Some release their medicines at night, others during the heat of day." She touched Emily's wrist, feeling her pulse. "Humans are no different. Our bodies open and close to different medicines at different times." Chen nodded slowly, remembering something from medical school he'd nearly forgotten. "We do know about circadian rhythms affecting drug metabolism. Blood pressure medications work better at night, steroid treatments in the morning." "Yes," Maria agreed, "but your science has only begun to scratch the surface. My people track 16 different body rhythms, not just the daily cycle. There are monthly cycles, seasonal shifts, and rhythms unique to each person. Emily's body speaks its own language of time." Word spread beyond the hospital. Other facilities with Moreno Syndrome patients began calling. The hospital administration, initially concerned about liability, became interested when they saw Emily walking the hallways after 2 weeks of treatment. "We'd like to establish a research partnership," the hospital director told Maria. "Your knowledge combined with our technology could help countless patients." Maria considered this carefully. "I've heard such promises before. When Harvard took my plants, they patented compounds my ancestors discovered centuries ago. Nothing returned to my people or the forest that sustains these medicines. What would make it right this time? Asked Dr. Torres. Knowledge flows both ways, Maria answered. I will share what I know, but your doctors must also learn to see medicine differently. And any discoveries must benefit my people and protect the forests where these plants grow. An agreement was reached. Maria would work with a team of researchers, but on her terms. The hospital established the Indigenous Wisdom Initiative, with Maria as its first director. Young doctors and researchers would train with her, learning to integrate timing, natural cycles, and holistic approaches with modern techniques. For Chen, the experience was transformative. The doctor who had built his career on hard science and technology found himself sitting with Maria each morning, learning to feel the subtle changes in Emily's pulse that indicated when to adjust her treatment. In medical school, they taught us that medicine advanced by moving away from traditional practices, he told Maria one day. Now I wonder how much we've lost by dismissing them. The best healing happens when old wisdom guides new discoveries, she replied. Your microscopes see things my eyes cannot. My traditions understand patterns your computers miss. Within a month, Emily was released from the hospital. Her parents, once preparing for her funeral, now watched in amazement as she began to regain her strength. She would need ongoing treatment, a modified version of Maria's tea, administered according to the protocols Maria had established, but the immediate crisis had passed. The hospital's research team, working closely with Maria, began clinical trials for other Moreno Syndrome patients. The results were promising, though they discovered that each patient required subtle adjustments to the formula and timing, exactly as Maria had predicted. The body speaks if you know how to listen, she told the researchers. No two people sing exactly the same song. A year later, a paper was published in the New England Journal of Medicine, detailing the remarkable success of what they called the Diaz protocol for treating Moreno Syndrome. The article explained how the integration of traditional healing wisdom with modern pharmaceutical science had created a breakthrough where conventional approaches had failed. For the first time in medical history, a major journal acknowledged the importance of administration timing as a critical factor in treatment efficacy. Chronopharmacology, they called it, the study of how timing affects medicine's efficacy. The article included Maria as lead author, with Dr. Chen and Dr. Torres as co-authors. The medical community's reaction was mixed. Some dismissed it as anecdotal, others hailed it as revolutionary. Pharmaceutical companies began exploring time-based dosing protocols for existing medications, finding improved outcomes with fewer side effects in preliminary studies. Emily's story became something of a legend at the hospital. On her 2-year checkup, she ran down the corridor to hug Maria, who was now a permanent consultant at the center. Emily's tests showed no signs of the disease that had nearly killed her. "Will I have to take the medicine forever?" Emily asked, as Maria checked her pulse. "Perhaps not," the elder healer replied. "Your body is learning a new pattern. Medicine is sometimes a teacher, showing the body how to heal itself." Maria's impact extended beyond just treating disease. She insisted that the hospital create a healing garden on its grounds, filled with medicinal plants from around the world. There, she would take medical students and young doctors, teaching them to observe the subtle rhythms of nature. "Before you can heal others, you must learn to see time differently," she told them. "Your watches divide the day into equal parts, but the body knows that not all hours are the same." The Indigenous Wisdom Initiative expanded to include healers from other traditions, Chinese medicine practitioners who understood key cycles, Ayurvedic doctors who worked with doshas, Native American healers who used sweat lodges and prayer. Each brought unique perspectives on how timing affected healing. What surprised the medical establishment most was how quickly some of these traditional approaches could be validated using modern research methods once scientists knew what to look for. Studies confirmed that many conventional drugs were indeed more effective at specific times of day, matching traditional wisdom that had been passed down for generations. The hospital established a specialized chronotherapy unit, where treatments were tailored not just to the disease, but to the individual patient's biological rhythms. Success rates climbed dramatically for conditions that had previously been difficult to treat. Dr. Chen, once the most skeptical of Maria's methods, became the unit's director. "We've been giving the right medicines," he often said in lectures, "but at the wrong times." 3 years after Emily's miraculous recovery, Maria received the hospital's highest honor. At 92, she stood on stage, still straight-backed and clear-eyed, as the medical director presented her with an award for revolutionary contributions to medical science. "Maria Diaz didn't just save one child's life," the director said. "She reminded us that medicine isn't just about what we know, but when we apply it. She bridged ancient wisdom and modern science, showing us that sometimes the most advanced medicine is simply remembering what we've forgotten." As Maria accepted the award, she looked out at the audience filled with doctors, researchers, and patients, including Emily, now a healthy 11-year-old with dreams of becoming a doctor herself someday. "I accept this honor not for myself, but for my grandmother, and her grandmother before her," Maria said, "and for all the healers whose wisdom was dismissed as primitive or superstitious. Time is the great healer. We are merely its students." Her legacy would live on long after she was gone. The Diaz timing protocols became standard practice for dozens of conditions. Medical schools added chronopharmacology to their curriculums. Pharmaceutical companies developed medications designed to be administered at specific times for maximum efficacy. And in the Amazon, a new research center worked with indigenous healers to document and preserve their knowledge, ensuring that centuries of wisdom about plants and healing would not be lost, and that the forests that house these plants would be protected. 5 years after Emily's recovery, Maria's health began to decline. At 94, she knew her time was drawing to a close. She called Chen to her bedside at the small apartment the hospital had provided for her. "I have one last lesson," she told him, her voice weaker, but her eyes still bright, "about the most important rhythm of all, the cycle of life and death." Chen sat with her, holding her hand as she explained the Yawanawa understanding of life's final transition, not as an end, but as a transformation, a time when the body's wisdom returns to the earth and the spirit's knowledge joins the ancestors. "Time is a circle, Richard," she whispered, "not a straight line. What seems like an ending is just another beginning." The night Maria died, a rare lunar eclipse darkened the sky, exactly the kind of celestial timing she would have appreciated. The hospital staff held a memorial service unlike any before, combining traditional Yawanawa rituals with modern medical honors. Emily, now 12, placed a small pot of flowering medicinal plants beside Maria's photograph. "She taught me that healing happens in its own time," the girl said, "and that sometimes the best medicine is patience." Maria's greatest gift to modern medicine wasn't just the specific treatments she developed, but a fundamental shift in how doctors thought about healing. Time itself became recognized as a crucial factor in medicine, not just how long a treatment took, but when it was administered, in harmony with the body's own rhythms. The Indigenous Wisdom Initiative she founded continued to grow, becoming an international network connecting traditional healers with research scientists. Through this collaboration, dozens of new treatments emerged for previously intractable conditions, each respecting both the what and the when of healing. In the years that followed, patients around the world benefited from Maria's wisdom without ever knowing her name. Children with rare genetic diseases like Emily's found hope where before there had been none. Treatments became more effective, with fewer side effects, simply by aligning them with the body's natural cycles. And in medical schools across the globe, a new generation of doctors learned that sometimes the oldest wisdom contains the newest cures, that healing is a dance with time, and that the most sophisticated medicine remembers what the ancients never forgot, that to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Because sometimes, to heal the present, you need both the past and the future. And sometimes, the most advanced medicine is simply remembering what we've forgotten. If you enjoyed this story about forgotten wisdom and the power of experience over technology, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss our new stories.